Hi, Christie.
Hi, Jeff.
We're recording now.
The many hours of conversation you and I have had,
Yeah.
we've had probably half of them that haven't been recorded.
You know what we should do? We should start a podcast.
You think? Let's call it The Why and the Buy. How's
All
that?
right.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Why and the Buy podcast. My name is Christie Walters, and I am here as usual with my friend, Jeff Bajorek. How's it going, Jeff?
I am so honored to have you call me your friend, Christie.
Aww,
it's the nicest thing
you know
anybody
you're
said
my
to me
friend.
all day. I know, but just I never get old. It never gets old hearing it. That's what I'm saying. So thank you for being a friend.
Of
There's
course.
a song out there, I think, a TV show.
I think there is a couple,
Thank
maybe.
Thank you for being a friend.
That's right.
Yeah, I love
That
it. Breaking
is
the song.
Right.
That's
And
wow,
Robyn
that's how we
Crane. Robyn Crane on
Oh.
background vocals today on The Why and the Buy. Robyn is a money and business growth expert. She's got a TV show. She's got books. She's here today to talk about her book, Make More Money, Help More People. She's an in-demand speaker. She's regularly invited to speak for companies at women's conferences, at chambers of commerce, with entrepreneurial groups. She's got a mentorship program called FEMM, F-E-M-M, which stands for Female Empowered Moneymakers. This is a woman who is a successful businesswoman as well. And we like to highlight stories like that on The Why and the Buy because they're just worth highlighting. And Robyn, thank you for being here. And I won't sing that for everybody who's listening's sake, but thanks for being here today, Robyn.
Yeah, once we get to the end of the podcast, then you can thank me for also being a friend, but I haven't really gotten that yet. You know, I haven't earned the right yet, but I'm going to work for it. I'm going to work for it.
It's coming. I kind of I'm feeling that kindred spirit there.
You know, we got the bond going on. Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, excellent. So tell us your story. What brings you here? Why the book? Why did you choose to start speaking to some of the audiences that you speak to?
Start at day one. I mean, what day
Okay,
was it?
well,
What time of day was
yeah.
it?
Don't have to go back through everything, but just tell us the short story.
It is funny that you say go back to the beginning because now that I'm pregnant, for those of you listening, like most of you won't care, but that all this birthing stuff is going on. It's like, okay, my mother induced me. No wonder. Like I'm everything. But really, I was a singer-songwriter, believe it or not, who went from singer-songwriter into the natural progression of becoming a financial advisor, of course.
Yes, of course.
Well, yeah, they write about that a lot.
Yeah,
huh?
it's always like, the first step to becoming a financial advisor is to become a cynical love song singer-songwriter. So, I have a weird background in regards to that, but I went to financial planning, surprisingly enough, because I felt really unfulfilled as a singer-songwriter. I loved it, but I was really writing a lot of cynical love songs and touring around the country and trying to make ends meet, which was fine, but I didn't feel very fulfilled. So I actually went into financial planning because I saw the value of being able to give back and help people create a financial successful life and be able to send their kids to college and retire and be able to buy a house and those things. And that's how I even got into that industry. But that kept morphing and evolving because I started to find, as I got clear and clear about my ideal client, and at the time it was really parents of young kids, I created something called Money Parenting, which is how to raise financially responsible kids by leading by example. And it was more around their beliefs and behaviors and much more habit-based than most of what we learn as traditional financial planning. So I kind of built a money coaching business and got to 6 figures, which took me years and was very, very difficult, lots of struggles. And then I had a year after that. Here's my great, very empowering story, is that after that, I had a year where I made $500 that year in my coaching business. So that was not my best year. And really just got really distracted, doing too many things, trying to do it all, and even forgot about kind of my ideal client. And then just 2 years later, did over $500,000 in that same business. So that's really where I've grown, but it kept morphing into, well, if I can help people shift their habits and help them save money, that's great. But if I can help them make more money, it's a whole different life. And then I got really clear about the best people I can help, or the people I can help the best, I should say, are women. And it's not that men can't use these tools and strategies that I teach, but I just find that I really connect with women entrepreneurs and women in sales who want to create their own financial destiny. And that's how I got into my, creating my FEM mentorship to empower women to make more money and help more people. And that's where the book comes from. So that's the evolution without talking about being induced, except that I talked about it.
It's interesting too, when you think about that dip and I don't know a solopreneur or a small business owner that hasn't experienced it. And it almost always comes on the heels of a very successful year or period in your business. And I'd love for you to elaborate a little bit more on just that emotional roller coaster. There's just so much that comes in to that. And Jeff and I are fairly young in the sense that we haven't been doing this as long as some.
And you're very young.
We're very young, of course. They're young looking anyway. But we have even experienced it, I think each of us at different degrees in our own businesses. And it is really when we took our eye off the ball. We stopped doing what we know how to do best, which is prospect.
Yeah, there's some reasons for that. I would say the number one reason is that your brain is designed to sabotage you, and it's such a lovely positive message here.
Yes,
there's this part of your brain, the back of your brain, and oftentimes known as the critter brain or the lizard brain, and its job is to keep you safe and survive. And sometimes when people haven't sustained making a certain amount of money, or they haven't actually had wealth, maybe they've survived being in debt, or they've survived just making ends meet and just living off of, just what they got without being able to save, then that's what their brain sees as survivable. And then you start to sabotage your success. And so that's one of the reasons, is that it's just not safe for us sometimes. And so we go through that sabotage pattern. Another reason is, obviously fear, is that we get bored, and then you're just bored, making money the same amount. And it's part of it is just we're bored. And so we start to look for, distractions. And then the other thing is the fear. So I think it's kind of those three components: is the brain, the brain's sabotaging you, your distractions, and then the fear component of, you have to, if you want to be successful, be what I call stretchy. I talk about it in this book, and I use a rubber band as an example, but I like to tell my femmes, you got to be stretchy, because if we're not stretching outside our comfort zone, then we cannot go to the next level. So it's really being willing to stretch and be uncomfortable and constantly put yourself out there, because comfort is not what you want. Even though your brain wants it and thinks it's safe and survivable, it's not going to allow you to thrive and allow you to really reach those big goals that you're really, meant to reach, and the person you're meant to become.
So much there to unpack. Being stretchy, the idea of fear, the idea of goals. When you get into people and you work with people who are entrepreneurs for the first time, who don't know if they're actually entrepreneurs or are they freelancers, and what's the difference? And, is this something you're going to leave behind, or is this something that you're just doing to make money per project? I mean, there's a lot of ways to go there, but the idea that fear is going to be there, whether you like it or not. If you're not a little bit afraid, you're probably not testing your own boundaries. And fear is not something you can run with or run from, but it's what Seth Godin likes to say, is that you have to learn to dance with it. And what I like to think about is that if everything was a win, if everything was easy, and I'm just making the same amount of money all the time because it's comfortable, it's what I know. If everything's easy, then it's boring. And if everything is overwhelmingly hard, then it's just demoralizing, and you just want to not be a part of it all. So we have to, I think, learn to embrace the ups and downs, and it's a ride, baby. Let's get on this ride and let's take it for what it is. And I think that's something that a lot of people, when they're new to business and when they think they've got something and they just want to start something with it, I've got a cool idea, I just need to do something with it. Then what? And I mean, how do you work with your femmes about this? How do you help them appreciate the context for what they're doing? How do you get to show them that they're doing better than they think, or that the picture of where they're going, the ocean where they're heading, is actually a lot more clear to them, rather than this just kind of hazy, space out there? I mean, it's really tough when you're going to uncharted territories. You don't know where you are, and you don't know if you're in the right place? I mean, how do you help people through that?
The key is always that it has to be bigger than you. It's got to be beyond yourself, because I mean, what really held me back so many times is that I got stuck in my own crap. You know, I got stuck thinking I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not whatever enough. And to be able to do this, and who am I? Like, I went through so many periods of fraud syndrome, especially going from singer songwriter to being a financial advisor. Here I am with no money, having made no money, having no assets, going, hey, trust me, let me advise you on where to put your money, and let me show you how to grow it, even though I have no clue. But these guys told me this product is going to be amazing. So trust me, you know? So,
right.
I mean, I really felt like a fraud. And then what happened, like, how did I get past that? And how do my femmes get past it? Is like, it can't be about you, because the second you go into you and your stuff and why you're not good enough, is you leaving people behind who need your help. And what I realized when I finally learned, like, the way I kind of broke through with my money parenting coaching business was, you know, the first time I actually got to six figures was because I got really clear about who I help. I got really good at a sales process that I learned from my coach that I would not have known how to do. But the sales process wasn't to sell them. The sales process was to really serve them, to uncover their real problems and figure out, am I someone who can solve those problems? Is my program, are my systems something that's going to actually help them solve those problems and get the result? And once you have that system, and you know with conviction that even if you maybe don't know with conviction you can help them get the result, but you at least believe that they need your help enough, then you'll put yourself on the line despite your fears, despite your fraud syndrome, despite all the stuff that comes up, because you actually care more about them than yourself and what they're going to think of you. And that's the key to breaking through, because it can't be about you, because you're not good enough. And I mean that in the sense that, like, we never are. And as long as you hold yourself to a higher standard, there's always another level. And I don't even think it's necessarily bad to think, well, you know, I want to go to the next level. But if we say I'm not good enough, and we go into our hole and we believe these beliefs, and then we take actions that respond to that belief, then we get a result. This is actually, I can tell you about this. This is what I call my belief loan phenomenon. But the idea is that your beliefs influence your behaviors, which influences your success, which again influences your beliefs. And if you imagine, because most of you are just listening, that it's this infinity sign and it keeps perpetuating itself. So if you believe you're not good enough, well, then the behavior, the action that you're taking is usually not one, or it's not one that's going to be effective. And then you get a result that just proves to you, oh my gosh, I was right. I suck. I'm not good enough. And no one gets helped, and everybody loses, and you're not making enough money. And then you have another belief, not only am I not good enough, but I'm also stupid, or I'm an idiot, or someone else is better, whatever those beliefs are. And then you have this downward spiral, and getting back up. And this is how I got in the hole of 500 a year in my coaching business, is like it's really hard to get back up from there. But if you have a mentor, and this is the secret, I believe, like one of the big secrets to success, and it's not such a big secret, it's just people don't usually listen, is that if you have the right mentor, and you instead of trying to shift your beliefs, which is like very big in the self-help world and self-development, which I love that stuff. But if you're in a place where you're having challenges shifting the belief at its core level, like no matter what people say and how much as Tony Robbins does, stick your finger up your nose, which I love Tony Robbins, but he does a funny thing where to get rid of your belief, he does this thing where he tells you, stick your finger up your nose, and you do these crazy things to try to like get rid of your belief, which I love. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I totally am not stupid anymore, because I can do these crazy things to scramble in my brain. But then somehow I got home and believed I was stupid again, and nothing could actually like shift that, no matter how much I jumped up and down. So what actually changed it was that I just kind of decided, okay, that's a belief. And I only decided this because my coach said, Robyn, if you're stuck, be stuck. Robyn, if you think you're stupid, just think you're stupid. Like, I'm not going to tell you differently because you are stupid. No, he didn't say that. But he said, I'm not going to try
Coaching 101. Yeah.
But he let me be where I was, accept where I was. And instead he just said, here, just believe you're stuck, whatever it is. And then just model this behavior and use this system, like the sales system that I learned. And then I got people success, not me success, which was also cool, but it was more that I saw results with other people. And then I adopted the belief. So that's the idea of the belief loan phenomenon. You borrow the belief from a mentor, from someone who you trust, who at least believes in you and has systems that you can model. You model those behaviors, you get a positive result. And then before you know it, you actually adopt the beliefs and you believe it, and you don't have to BS it anymore, so that's huge. I don't know how I got there, but I somehow went off on a tangent and got it.
You got there beautifully, actually. Yeah. And I think what I love about that story is the fact that your coach actually allowed you to stay with your feeling, right? Oftentimes we have a society that is driven by, let's move it forward. Oh, you're feeling down. Well, just feel happy. Oh, you're having trouble with your business. Well, just go out and get more business. And so, although those things are true, if we don't really sit with those negative emotions or those negative beliefs a little bit and unpack them, then you're just going to fall right back into it. Like you said, as soon as you get home from the conference, or as soon as you finish that training class, as soon as you hang up the phone with your coach, you're immediately back into that same thought pattern. So I love that. And it's very uncomfortable for both coach and clients to be there.
Yeah.
Well, so I can imagine that was difficult.
As I love to say, everything you want that you don't already have lies outside your comfort zone. Otherwise, you'd already have it. So I used to get uncomfortable with clients. I remember one of the first times I was coaching a couple who they were on the brink of divorce. The husband hadn't paid taxes for like 8 years. The wife was completely judging him, and they couldn't communicate about not just money, about anything. It was really uncomfortable. And I was sitting in their basement, basically. I mean, it was a nicer basement. I was sitting there with them, and like, the husband was by the door with his arms crossed, like about to leave. And I was like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Like, this is horrible. Like, I was like so scared because I felt so uncomfortable. And then breakthrough, like he started stepping back, and there was a huge breakthrough. And I was like, oh my gosh, this was really difficult for me as a coach, really difficult for them as a couple. But now, they'll say, we're still together because of you. You get all this love and fulfillment because you changed someone's life. And the only way to get them there is for you to be willing to be uncomfortable and for them to also be. And my femmes, you asked about the femmes. I mean, the belief loan phenomenon is like such a key to their success because, especially women, they have a tendency to beat themselves up, and think that they need to be confident. I must be confident so I can go sell. I must be confident so I can go do my business. And I'm like, you know what? Don't be confident, but go do this. Here, follow this script, do this, read these words, and then shut your mouth and listen and just have the intention to serve and to help them and to allow space for them to find their path. And then you'll see it will work. And then you don't have to worry about being confident anymore, because all of a sudden it's not about you, it's about them. They get an amazing result. They feel grateful that they had a conversation with you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm good at this shit. And you're not, but no, I'm just kidding. You get good at it. You get good at it because you build the confidence when you are serving and you see other people get results because of it. So I love that little trick. I talk about it all the time, but I can't get away from it because that was the only way I could succeed. Because if I just tried to keep shifting my limiting beliefs all day long, I know that works, but I just couldn't seem to do it. But if I could, I was willing to take action and model behavior, and that I could get through even without my beliefs until just long enough until I had them.
Well, ignoring your beliefs doesn't correct them. Ignoring them doesn't change them. You have to understand where you are. You got to acknowledge it for what it is. Hey, I'm depressed. Okay, well, you just said it out loud. That's a good spot. That's a good spot. So what does that feel like? And okay, take that, move it over here, and let's call it what it is. But then what do we do? What do we need? Not what do we need to do about that? What do we need to do next? Like, do we need to get up and brush our teeth? And, I'm talking me and the mouse in my pocket, right? Our teeth, make our breakfast, whatever it is. But, I'm stuck in my business. What does that mean? I'm killing it in my business. Okay, what does that mean? All right, then put it over here. And then let's get back to work. What's the next right thing to do? What is the next thing that we have to move forward with? And it doesn't matter where you are on either end of the spectrum. And I work with people on all over the spectrum when it comes to that thing. And that brings up, mindfulness. And are you present enough and clear enough to even recognize that, to mentally put that point on the map or on the timeline and say, yes, at this time I am right here. And then cool. And I was actually working with someone this morning. Once it has a name, it can be worked with. whether it can be
Oh,
worked
yeah.
over, around, but once it has a name, it can be worked with. And until it has a name, it's a big, scary monster in the closet. And then once it has a name, you realize it's Sully from Monsters Incorporated, and you can give him a hug and, probably sing a song, right? And that's the thing. Robyn, you'll speak fluent Pixar before too long. You're expecting. So that we can talk about that on another podcast.
You get to watch all of these shows now with no guilt whatsoever, right? So I've been known to adopt people's kids just so I could go see the latest Pixar movie.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the takeaway though, just in regards to like naming it and having just being able to kind of put it in a box for a second and put it outside yourself. Cause I actually, for my first book, Mind Over Money Management, I talk about these 5 money types. And, I can kind of see my patterns by, recognizing these money types. And one's called Cheap Chip. That's my main money type, who, doesn't like to spend money, doesn't feel very abundant, it's usually scarcity minded. And I've changed a lot, but like, that's a core pattern of mine. I don't like to lose money. And then you have Delusional Dan, who's totally willing to step outside his comfort zone and do anything, and anything is possible. And I had to kind of like use my core money types and see it as something outside myself so I wouldn't judge myself, but then be able to consciously step into those different patterns and be more generous here because I'm stepping to over generous Olivia, or, be more spendthrift Sally here because like I just have to not be worried about money and just like be abundant. And I can use these different money types, even avoider Al, to just like use them to serve me, because when it's outside yourself, it's not, the judgment starts to drift and go away. And our challenge is, I think, so much of what holds us back and is holding you back. If you're listening to this, like, why am I not where I want to be? So much of it is because you're constantly judging yourself for constantly judging yourself and beating yourself up why you're not there yet. And as much as I want you to succeed and I want you to want more and raise the standard, it's like you can't get there when you're not in alignment. And that goes back to like mindfulness and that sort of thing. When you're not in alignment with who you are and what you want, and when you're judging yourself and just seeing all the negative side of it, it's like, it's really hard to move forward. And I think that acceptance, whether it's accepting of the beliefs and being able to model a behavior from a mentor and move on, or even just accepting that these are patterns that you're running, it's not who you are. And that allows you to just be kind to yourself and stop, yelling at yourself like you would never do to a poor 3-year-old kid. Like, you're so stupid, you're such an idiot. Like, you never do that, but you do it to yourself every day. And that's the lovely, cheesy stuff. But the lovely, cheesy stuff is all real.
Go ahead, Christy. Sorry about that.
Well, I wanted to make a point because I love this whole focus on being a servant and serving those that need your assistance, because it benefits you when your belief is judgment in a negative way, but it also benefits you as well when you get a little too full of yourself, right? When the ego starts to take over, it means that now you're already starting to be more self-focused as opposed to being focused on the other individual. And so I think that, it seems to be more prevalent that we're down on ourselves, or we have the imposter syndrome that comes up on a regular basis. But there are definitely those that are overachievers, and the ego becomes the enemy in this process. But once you put other people in front, all of that tends to just fade away in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like anytime, and you're in service and you're serving other people, you can let go of all that BS. Because usually when people are overconfident or full of themselves, it really is based on fear too. It's not that real. It's just it's usually not 100% congruent with who they really are if they're overly, in that way. But yeah, I'm actually, I was filming this movie in LA. It's not going to come out for a long time, but it's called Impact. And there was this guy who he's all about like serving other people. This is who I'm coaching in this movie. And he really wants to serve other people, but at the same time, it's like he couldn't see, he had this huge block about how his product, he does like homeopathic remedies, how the product actually helps people. And he couldn't get past, like I said, but does your product help people? And he's like, well, it's only if they use it in the right way. And I'm like, if you don't have conviction that this is helping people, that you can change their lives, then walk away, man, walk away, go work at Burger King. I was like, don't even do it. And so I think there's like a big difference between being, you know, overly confident, full of yourself, and just having total conviction in who you help and how you help them and how you transform lives. Because I was like, no one can tell me, I don't care like who, like it could be Tony Robbins, it could be, you know, anyone in this world. No one can tell me that I'm not helping people. Like I have so much conviction around that. And even like, this is how I got over like all my limiting beliefs about sales and being pushy and manipulative, is like, no one can tell me sales is bad anymore, because I've seen so much growth from people when you sell them into your program because so that they change lives, or you sell them, you know, for themselves, or to believe in themselves so they actually get what they want. And so I think like, I just think that's a really good distinction of like the conviction. It always goes back to not because you are the man or you are the woman. It's because you are so dedicated and committed to helping these people. You have conviction in your transformational work that you provide them. So it goes back to them versus being like, I'm so cool. Like it has nothing to do with that, but you can have confidence in yourself that you do help people when you have the conviction that they get the results. So,
absolutely. I don't hear any conviction at all. None of that is in your voice.
Move over,
Robyn. That's it. Robyn, you're awesome. I
Yes,
love that energy.
I want to go on the record as saying that I worked at Burger King in college, and I helped a lot of people on my floor get free food after my shift when I came back. That's what I want to talk about, my
Burger King
experience
thanks
helping
you, I'm
people
sure.
at Burger King. Yes, they do. That was a long time ago. But
all of your neighbors thank you, actually.
You know,
you started the whole free plus shipping concept without the shipping part, but you just gave away free food and everyone loved Burger King. And that's probably why it exploded, Jeff. So
that's right.
Well done, man. Well done.
And I was, you know, the thing was I only helped people that were between my dorm room and the door. I didn't help anybody on the other end of the floor. It was just, I was going that way anyway.
You understood your market. That's all that was.
Made a lot of friends. Targeted. Made a lot of friends. I'll say that. So your book is called Make More Money, Help More People. A lot of people put those terms or those concepts in a different order than you did. Most people say, well, the more people you help, the more money you make. Now you're saying, you're kind of turning this on its end for this book. Sorry, you've got more than one book, but for this book, you know, you're saying that the more money you make, the more people you can help. Why? I think I know where you're going with that, but can you help give us a little bit of color behind that?
Yeah, the biggest, there's kind of three layers that I see, but the biggest one is actually that when people pay, they pay attention. So in my field work, I work with people who are service-based. Not everybody is service-based, but typically even for product-based companies, I find that it's still to meet a transformational need. Ultimately, even this guy who's selling, you know, $21 homeopathic remedies, like what's the problem he's trying to solve? Is it so people don't feel stressed and they can sleep at night and they don't have post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. So I'm always looking for the transformation. And I really believe, and I'm a cheap chip, remember, cheap chip doesn't like to spend money and likes to save a buck. But what I realized, this is how I got past all my stuff holding me back as well, is that what I realized, when people pay, they pay attention. And so as I increased my prices when I was doing money coaching and financial planning, I found that people were more and more dedicated, more and more committed, and then they got better results. So when I made more money, I actually was able to help more people. For one, I mean, because I charged more, they paid attention, but also I paid attention, because there was no way. I'm so, you know, I'm so concerned about like making sure people are getting the value, that there was no way that I would take, let's just say $1,000, or let's just say $1,000 and not give them at least $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 worth of value, because I'm putting it on myself. And then if I increase my prices by 5 times or 10 times, then I want to give them like 100 times the value, because I want to make sure they get what they want. So on one hand, it's like, as you raise your prices, if you have that ability, and many people are probably selling other people's stuff, but that it doesn't matter. Same thing, like the more people you go and sell to, if you believe in the product, you believe in the service, the more people you're helping. Like if you go double your income, it's by, you know, law of numbers, you probably helped double the amount of people you helped, or right, you doubled the value that you provided by helping those people because they paid more money. So that's like one level. And then the next level is as you make more money, you can really give back, right? So you have more money yourself to live the quality of life that you want, then you're more congruent with it. And then you feel compelled, like we're givers, like no matter how selfish you are, like when you start having enough money to do everything you want to give back and give people less fortunate. You want to help them get what they want, whether it's with your business or philanthropic work or whatever. So then you have more money to give. And then the third component, especially if you're growing a business, is that you can hire people, and you can start, like, as your business grows or as your team grows, then more people get more opportunities and you lead them to be able to do the same. And now it's just like this huge ripple effect, as you help others, as you make more money, there's always people are getting impacted as long as you have the heart and you're doing the right thing. And most people listening to this podcast, I'm sure, are those type of people that are doing it for the right reasons. They want to transform people's lives. They want to make an impact because we're humans. Like, that's what drives us, really, as much as it could be. We could say it's money or we can say it's success. Like, ultimately, if we're not contributing, we're not living, So that's really, I think, the huge secret. But yeah, originally the idea is just about, as you make more money and grow your business or grow your revenue, that you're literally providing more value to people because they're paying more and it's more transformational.
Wow. Okay.
Nailed it. I know you did. Nailed it. Like, I don't even know what to say to that. You nailed it.
So, that's amazing. So
is that exactly what you were thinking I was going to say?
Well, no. It's very much along those lines, and I'm following you, and I'm thinking while you're talking, and it makes a lot of sense, and I know it's making a lot of sense to our listeners. So, as clearly an inspired person, what has inspired you along these lines? What do you read? What do you love? What do you listen to? What do you do? Or what has contributed throughout your professional growth, which has been extensive? I mean, going from being a cynical singer-songwriter, a cynical love singer-songwriter, to a transformational coach that's helping people to find congruence, which is a great word. That's quite a journey there. What has helped you along the way? It might be. It's one of my favorite words, actually, because it's a math term. I feel about math. But what has kind of helped get you to where you are today?
Yeah, so absolutely. And it's a lot of things. For sure. I mean, I got introduced to Tony Robbins and that whole world of, oh my gosh, I can change my destiny. Like, I didn't know that. Like, no one told me that. I didn't realize that. So that was, as much as I say I had a challenge going home after his events to shift my mindset, because I knew, Tony told me, this is how it works and this is how you can have everything you want. And then I got mad at myself for not being able to shift my beliefs and stuff. So that was my own stuff. But everything he teaches, I just love. And I think that has definitely shaped who I am and really has allowed me to see that I control my own destiny. I create my own success, my own world, and all of that. So that was a huge influence. This is a good story. I actually, there's a woman I love, and many people know about her now. She's pretty big. Her name's Mel Robbins.
Yep.
There's no relationship to Tony Robbins, but I only follow mentors with the last name Robbins because my name is Robyn. No, but Mel Robbins, it was funny. I was writing a book about money parenting, or that was the intention anyway. And this was about 5 years ago. And I saw this TED Talk with Mel Robbins.
About being fine.
Yeah, it says, well, it's actually Stop Screwing Yourself.
Yeah.
But her book was called Stop Saying You're Fine, but she got to be a little bit more aggressive on the TED Talk. And now it's reached 10 million views, probably by the time you listen to this or whatever, it's going to be more. But anyway, she's amazing. And at the end of her TED Talk, I'm watching it on YouTube, right? This is access to everyone. At the end of her TED Talk, she says, I'm here to help you. And if I can do anything to help you, just ask. And her whole talk, at the end, she talks about this thing called the 5-second rule, how you need to follow your impulse. You have 5 seconds. And if you don't follow it within 5 seconds, you put on the emergency brake. And it's similar to what I was talking about with the survival mode of your brain, that you will not take action. You'll go back to survival and then you won't thrive. You won't be able to get what you want. And so she says at the end, I'm here to help you. If there's anything I can do to help you, just let me know. And I'll do the best I can to do that. And I'm watching this after 5 million people have watched this. I send her a message and I literally asked her, I found her and I said, hey, can I interview you for my money parenting book? And she said, yes. Like, what a champ. Like, I mean, she's the best. Like, that's so amazing. Like, to speak your word. So many people are, BS around and like say they want to help you and they don't. And that's, busy woman. But anyway, I interviewed her and that led to a lot of different things. She just recently wrote the foreword in my new book, Make More Money, Help More People. But the reason I bring it up is because a lot of, like, we're very aligned in what we teach and how we teach it. She definitely teaches it in a different way. But her book, The 5-Second Rule, which is her newest book, everybody should read it, because we're all designed, as I said at the beginning, to sabotage ourselves. Like, our brain is designed to keep us safe and keep us, in survival mode. And what she teaches in regards to taking action in 5 seconds, it will change your life. So that's been awesome. And I love that, because I totally, even before that book came out, I was just loving what she says, and I'm a big action taker. So that's huge. And then one last thing I would mention, because I think this is really, really important, is I started getting into the law of attraction. And I think that everyone who really ends up being very successful, making money and helping a lot of people, has some form of that meditation or law of attraction or, positive thinking or something, that you have to be in alignment. And if you're not in alignment, then you will be sabotaging your success no matter how much action you take. And it's not just go, 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 go. And in fact, I had to kind of learn this the hard way. Do I have time to tell you a personal story?
Absolutely.
As much time as you need.
Okay. In that case, 2 hours later. No,
we'll just break it up.
I think I mentioned that I'm pregnant, and I didn't mention that it took us a long time to get pregnant. It took us almost 5 years. And this was, not too long ago when I was doing in vitro, doing IVF. And it was the day before I was supposed to have a retrieval. For those of you guys who are disgusted, just to stay with me for a second. But that just means they're going to retrieve or take out the eggs and then, put them with your mansicle's sperm and make a baby. So, not as sexy, but it still works. But it was the day before, and we spent a lot of money. We'd been trying for years, and the day before I'm supposed to have this retrieval, I was just like, I was very, very hardcore, just like go, 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 action, action, action all the time, go, 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 go. And I believed in, like self-care, but I didn't do it, and I believed in take, like, whatever, all these things, even meditation, but I just didn't have time, And I literally was going from one call to the next, and I walked down my stairs and I had my phone in my hand, and I didn't even stop working when I had my phone in my hand, walking down the stairs. I was looking at it, and I was in socks, and I slipped down the stairs. I hit my head on the back of the stairs, and I got to, it was literally like, to the end of the stairs. And my husband, who was down in his office, heard me and like got off Skype and came running to help me. And I was just sitting there at the end of the stairs, and I, lean over, and then I just start to feel this blood dripping down my face and from my head. And I was just so scared. And I thought, please, God, please, 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 like, please let me still do this retrieval. We worked so hard for this, and all this medication, all this stuff that's just, it's not as fun as you would think. He's so great in emergencies, and he's like, put your arms behind and apply pressure here, and it's going to be okay. There's no reason why we're not going to be able to do this retrieval and all this stuff. He's very, very just excellent about all that stuff. And we got to the couch, and basically, like, luckily I didn't pass out or anything, and talked to my nurse. And in the end, I had stitches and whatever it was. And the next day, thank God, I was able to do the retrieval, and now I'm pregnant, and it's just a total miracle. And after all that, 2 weeks later, I had one of my 3-day Femme mentorship events, and I had 2 of the ladies who have been in my mentorship quite a few times. They offered to volunteer. So they were there, and they stayed at my house, and they said, Robyn, we got to talk about this whole self-care thing. And I'm like, yeah. Like, cause it's kind of like it happened. It was this huge emotional roller coaster, but then I somehow got what I wanted anyway. At the time, I don't think I knew I was pregnant yet, but I at least got the eggs out of my body. I was like, yeah, we'll talk about it. That's cool. Yeah. And then we finally talked about it, and they're like, no, really, Robyn, like, we need to talk about it. And these are my clients whom I love and who have changed their lives. And now I have the opportunity to have them in my life to change my life. And they absolutely did. And they said, Robyn, we're going to throw your medicine back on you. Like, what are you going to do? What are you committed to doing? That you can take care of yourself no matter what, because you're doing great in your business. You're helping a lot of people. Like, I know you're meant to do all this, but you can't do as much as you're meant to do if you don't take care of yourself. And they were absolutely right. And it was hilarious because one of the things that I teach, I say that you really want to get something done, you say, like, you create a consequence that's more painful than whatever it is that you have to do. So if I associated pain to meditating and I thought that was a pain in the butt and I didn't want to do it, I have to have a consequence that'll be greater than that so that I do it and then I'm willing to do. And so they basically just said, because they know I'm a cheap ship, they know I don't like to lose money. And they said, so Robyn, how about, because they said, what are you going to do? And I said, okay, I'll meditate 3 times a week, 20 minutes a day. Like, I can do that. That's sustainable. That's something I'll do. I'll do it for 3 months. And that's my commitment. And they're like, okay. And if you don't do that, you have to pay us each $5,000. I was like, what? Wait. I said, wait, hold
Sorry,
on
back
a
the truck
second.
up a little bit here. Hold on.
You can't throw my coaching back in my face. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you can deal, because I knew there was no way in hell I was paying them each $5,000 for me not meditating 3 times a week. I'm not an idiot, So I said, absolutely. And that was back in March. And now I've meditated every single day since, and most of it's sleepitation. I mostly listen to at night. Yeah. But every single day since, I haven't stopped because I built a habit, and I'm so grateful for that. So I like listening to things like Abraham Hicks and law of attraction stuff, but I absolutely believe it was, I think, 2 or 3 months later, I had a $178,000 month. It was like my best month ever, because I basically finally started to allow and took care of myself, and law of attraction instead of just always pushing. So if I can leave you with that, I think that's a huge lesson, because I think especially, probably most people listening, type A, we're go-getters. We want everything now or yesterday, and we'll do anything, do whatever it takes. But if you don't stop to take care of yourself and relax and be aligned and, really meditate and just listen and do all that, then you're going to go, and you're going to hit a wall and hopefully not, bleed your head open, literally, but stuff will happen. So
you had to fall down the steps to realize that you weren't congruent.
Exactly. The word of the day.
The word of the day. Week. That's it. Yeah. I love that, Robyn. I think we have to have white space. We have to have space in our lives to accept the things that are going to come to us, right? If you're full, busy, there's no time or attention to accept what is out there and available for you. So
true.
I love that. I'm glad the story ended up the way it did, and congratulations to you and your husband. That's wonderful. So I think that we are out of time, but Robyn, how do our listeners reach you? How can they find you?
The best way is you can find my website, which is robyncrain.com, but I want to give you all a gift, because I just want to give it away, because I really feel like I'm very proud of this book that I wrote, and I want you all to have it. And it is intended for female entrepreneurs. So if you're a dude, you don't have to get it, but I will tell you that the secrets in there that I teach women can apply to you. It's just one of the things I teach is how important it is to do target marketing, and like how you really want to talk to one person. So if you don't mind, every once in a while I say, you're a woman, and you're man enough to get past that, and you can get it as well. But you can go to, for all you want to download the book, you can also get it on Amazon, but if you want it for $0, if you're a cheap chip like me, you spend nothing, you can go to robyncrane.com, robyncrane.com/free book. You get the free download, and then I give you all these bonuses and really cool stuff so that you can also apply it into your life and your business. And whether you're a sales professional or you have your own business, to me, it's all the same. If you create your own destiny when it comes to your money and creating you want to create higher earnings, higher income, then it's a great book, and it's filled with a ton of stories, really fun and very specific strategies for you.
So thank you for that, Robyn. I really appreciate that. And I know our listeners are going to appreciate that, but we can't let you go without asking you what your why is.
Oh, geez, the why. Because I'm selfish and want to make a lot of money.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
If you don't know my why by now, you haven't been listening.
The question, it's like one of the boxes we need to check. We need to ask that question.
Yeah. So I think it really is in line with what I've been talking about. But I mean, my why is that when I have someone like one of my clients, Lisa, who was making negative $300 a month because her business expenses were exceeding her actual income, and then 10 months later make over $100,000, and her life is completely transformed. Like, I mean, if I had enough time, I can associate to that and get into tears. And I have so many stories like that. It was just like, it's so transformational. And that's why I do what I do. It's not for me. It's not for, I really like having a great quality of life. I'm really excited to bring this baby into this world and be able to be able to give him whatever he wants, basically, and allow him to become the best person he's meant to become, as we have those opportunities now, because money isn't an issue finally, in my life. But like, that's never what drives me, because I just don't care about that stuff. Like, it's cool, right, but it's like, it never really makes you happy. What makes you happy and fulfilled is always, to me, I mean, it's like the people that you help. And I can think of Lisa and Bree and Ashley and like all these people. I mean, I talk about a lot of them in my book who not just who are transforming their own lives, but it really is that ripple effect that as they make more money, they help more people. And oh my goodness, like, I can help millions of people if I help these people help other people who help other people. And then I can help even more millions and even more millions and even more millions. And I know I'm here on this planet for a reason. And so that's my why. Like, that's my legacy, is to help these women entrepreneurs to really create financial success for themselves, but in a way that it's serving the world. And when that happens, it's like, it's just, I'll do it all day long. Like, I can do it forever. I'm never going to stop working because it's so fulfilling. So is that good enough?
I think that's,
no,
yeah,
try again.
I think that'll work.
And the money is awesome.
Awesome. Well, Robyn,
Excellent.
Thank you so much for being here. You can go to robyncrane.com/free book. Download the book.
And Robyn with a Y.
Robyn with a Y. That's Robyn with a Y.
Robyn with a Y, who knows her why.
Hashtag show notes. Hashtag check the show notes. They're there. I promise you.
Yes.
You've got 5 seconds. Go there right now. Make the decision. Download the book. Download the free goodies. Check out Robyn. Follow her on Twitter. We can follow you on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Follow her on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at The Why and the Buy. Follow Christie on Twitter at Walters Christie. I'm at Jeff Bajorek always. And Robyn, thanks again for being here. Christie, Robyn sounds like she really knows her why.
That's right. Because when you know your why, your hows and your whats get much better.
Amen, sisters. Thanks everybody for being here. We are going to be back next week with more great stuff. Check us out. Give us a review. Give us a star on Overcast. You can find us there. It's a great podcast app for listening. And check us out anywhere you get podcasts. Tell a friend. Do something. And go out and be great today. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
I told you once, I've told you twice. I told myself it doesn't matter.
How about the music on this podcast? We call them our house band. They call themselves Haskins, and they're based out of Plymouth, Michigan. If you want to hear more from them, go to haskinsmusic.com and check them out. Hey, thanks for listening to us on the Why and the Buy podcast. If you like us, tell us. Send us a message at the Why and the Buy on Twitter, or leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you got this podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Talk to you next week.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.